0 to 60 can define a performance car, but it's the fastest 60 to 0 that's the aim of Tarok's brakes. From road cars to race cars, circuits, special stages, or the autostrada, nothing reduces speed like Tarok's brakes. Italy gave the world the art of Da Vinci and Michelangelo. Tarok's has given drivers the art of stopping. For more information and to acquire your own masterpiece, visit tarox.co.uk. Yes, it's me, Mark Stone, and this is the Backseat Driver Podcast. It's the fastest, it's the friendliest, and it's for all the family. The Gas Shocks 116 Trophy and 120 Coupe Cup are the fastest growing race series in the UK, taking in 6 one-hour races and 8 sprints at all the top circuits. Visit 116trophy.com to find out more and get yourself behind the wheel. From a pot of tea to TT motorbikes. From a classic English breakfast to a full serving of classic cars. Bridge House Tea Rooms is the Northwest premier classic car meeting location for cars, bikes, tractors and owners clubs. So no matter what your automotive appetite might be, visit Bridge House Farm Tea Rooms on their Facebook page or call John and Alicia on 07980 444 221 for show details and to reserve your own table and parking space.
I'd like to introduce or reintroduce to the Backseat Driver radio show a guest from a while ago, a genuine proper Welshman, the one, the only, Bryn Pearce, from Lightning House Motorsport, promotions and events, and I know that off by heart for the simple reason it is on his waistcoat who sat in front of me, and also the man who hosts the Rally Revival series. Bryn, welcome back to the Backseat Driver radio show.
Thanks for having me, Mark. Appreciate the invite, yeah.
Now, we might as well start with Lightning House Motorsport promotions and events. Since the last time you were on, we didn't talk about it. What exactly is it?
Other than a really long title.
Other than a really long title.
Yeah, Lightning Houses. So it was originally set up, 6 years ago now.
Yeah.
Predominantly for modern rallying, and its initial job was to win Rally GB back for Chester Council.
Yeah.
To have Rally GB back in the city centre.
Yeah.
We put the wheels in motion for that mid-2015 and achieved it 2016, late October time.
Yeah.
So that was the first 12-month project. And from then on, we had various, I suppose you call it irons in fires.
Yeah.
So things like Chumley Pageant of Power. We did work with Toyota. We've done work with Vauxhall. A whole raft of different jobs, different events. It's predominantly experience days, motorsport shows,
Yeah.
manufacturer events and that sort of thing.
And the other thing is you produce bespoke racing equipment and racewear, don't you?
Yeah, so that's our other company. So that's lhmotorsport.co.uk. So we're the importer for Marina Racewear in the UK, and that's fully bespoke racewear, the kind of things on a Formula One grid, British touring car grid, etc. and so on. Made to measure with all your sponsor logos, seats, belts, extinguishers, you name it, it's on our website, yeah.
Because I think that's one thing a lot of people don't appreciate, that they see a racing driver, a rally driver, and you have what's sometimes affectionately called the romper suit on. I still have mine from all those years ago, as my better off pointed out. It wants washing, does that. Since I think the last time I wore it, I took it off, threw it in the grip, and that's where it's lurked ever since. But the clothing that you wear to race or rally it's not just there to look good, is it? It's serious clothing, is this, and which is why it costs so much money.
Yes, it's fully fireproof. It goes through a rigorous testing standard with the FIA in Paris. Most of the racewear now is coming out to a new standard, which is a 2018 standard. And up to now, racewear's never particularly been lifed. By life, I literally mean, as it says, a 10-year life or whatever.
Yeah.
The new standard does have a life of 10 years.
All right.
So anything that's got the 2018 standard, it's good to 2028, etc. and so on. And from my understanding is the FIA are looking to phase out older racewear, as they do with everything. Times move on. But no, the The difference with our racewear compared to most other manufacturers, Marina are a manufacturer in their own right of material.
Yeah.
So whereas everybody else uses Nomex, which is a DuPont brand, we use our very own patented brand.
All right.
Which makes Marina racewear completely different to everyone else's.
So I must confess, all my stuff, though it's now aged like I am, is Nomex, because everybody talks about Nomex because you've got the underwear and you've got the overalls, triple layer and all the rest of it. And it's really cosy It's really cosy to wear to a degree. It's an ideal method of losing weight if you're not careful.
Yeah, for sure. The big difference you'd find actually, Mark, now. So on a suit, say 20 years old, or even a suit 10 years old, is when you pick one up in your hand, they weigh a bit.
Yeah, they are not like
2.5 kilos usually on those older suits. If you picked up a modern suit, be it from ourselves or one of our competitors, the top of the range suits are about 900 grams. Oh. So they're less than a kilo. And when you wear one now, especially a made-to-measure one, you don't necessarily realise you're wearing it. It just feels like a second skin because they're so thin.
Yeah.
The fireproof standard's even better than it was. Weirdly, which you could think.
It used to be 10. Was it 10 seconds you were given? If you're in a car that was on fire, apart from the fact that you will have this natural urge to get out of it, it was supposed to keep you safe. You get a bit warm with it, warm and cosy, but it was supposed to keep you safe for about 10 seconds. Doesn't sound a long time, but I once climbed out of a burning 911, and I'll be quite honest, even I was surprised how quickly I got out of the damn thing.
Yeah. Yeah, the Formula One at the end of last year, everyone would have seen that horrendous crash where the driver was stuck in the car for probably 30 seconds or so. Yeah. And his suit, I mean, it was singed. Yeah. There's no two ways around that. His gloves were singed, which was fireproof as well. But the bits of him that really had the damage were his eyebrows, where the visor of his helmet was, and the backs of his hands, where the glove had gone. Yeah. But the actual suit part of his body got away pretty scot-free, really. It was sort of 30 seconds or so. So although you wouldn't really guarantee 30 seconds, call it what you will, a modern suit is way beyond what an old one will do. And as I say, it's really quite strange when you look at one and they're so thin. Yeah. You didn't really think, well, that can't be as good as the old heavy thick suit, but they're actually better. And that's the other thing. A lot of people now take up motorsport or whatever. They buy some overalls and then they stitch badges on of whatever it might prove to be. And that's the last thing you do. You have them embroidered during manufacture because if you're not careful, it's a bit like poking holes in waterproof jackets. All of a sudden you find we've poked the holes in. Water comes in. If you poke holes in fireproof material and don't have it all proofed up and everything else, if you are unfortunate enough, you'll find the flames might find their way in that way. Yeah, absolutely. And it's actually one of the things that you'll see on a lot of grids now, if you look at Formula One or touring cars, is most people don't tend to have even embroidery on suits now. Most of the logos are printed on, which also saves weight. I mean, it's only a gram or two, but it's all weight saving. So most logos are printed on. And the nice thing about a printed logo is if you get a new sponsor for the following year, if you just go slightly bigger on the logo, you can print over the old logos. Oh, that's useful. So you actually get more longevity out of a suit in that way, yes. But no, exactly, stitching on badges, although not illegal unless you penetrate through all the layers, you can do it as long as you use fireproof stitch. It's not really what you want to be doing from a safety aspect, and they look pretty awful, if I'm honest, as well. They actually do, because you tend to look at people at times and think, there's no way you're sponsored by that lot. No, but yeah, no, printing's the way to go, and printing's a lot better than it was even 5 years ago, so yeah. And it's like, whilst we're on this subject, it's like helmets. I bought a modern carbon fibre crash helmet about 3 years ago. I couldn't credit how lightweight it is. I also couldn't credit how much money I paid for it, but crash helmets. A lot of people now, you'll see them, they'll go and do a track day and they will have a cheap Chinese, nothing against the Chinese, motorbike helmet. That is not what you wear in a car. It's not going to offer you, it'll offer you no protection on the motorbike. It'll certainly offer you no protection in a car. No, it's a funny one, actually. It's one of my pet hates, and I'm not just as a retailer, because you always want to sell stuff, let's be honest, but it's even as a competitor, is you see crews spending an absolute fortune on tyres, 150 quid a corner, and he'll go through 8 on a rally or whatever, and various other parts of the car. But it comes to a race suit or the seats or the belts or a helmet, and they scrimp. They'll get the absolute cheapest they can get. It's interesting, actually, you mentioned helmets specifically, because the standard for those is changing as well. Oh. So there's a whole bunch of helmets going on a date next year. That'll be mine, probably. And I've put myself on the spot there, because I can't remember which standard's going on a date. It's one of the Snell standards, which has got an FIA standard mixed in. I think it's the 2010 standard off the top of my head.
Yeah.
That's going out of date next year. So certainly all the new helmets that have come out, certainly the Stilo range, are to the very newest standards. But as you say, the price of a carbon helmet now, the new Stilo Venti from memory is $1,500.
Yeah. That's roughly what I paid for. I'll be quite honest. I bought
yeah.
the Stan 21.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
I'd never had throughout all what I've done, had a Stan 21 crash helmet. And I always said I wanted one, so I bought one.
Very traditional brand Stan 21. Stan 21, when you looked at bespoke suits in the past at the higher end of the market, Stan 21 were the only people that really did them.
Yeah.
Sparco did a few, OMP did a few, and a company called Freem, which is a French company.
Mate, so is Stan 21. That's the one thing about Stan 21. Lots of people say, to a motor racing show, Stan 21 were there. You can't buy anything off them. You buy a pair of gloves and a pair of boots and that's it. Yeah, because everything is bespoke. It is made for the person who will wear it.
Yeah, much like ourselves,
Yeah, the other manufacturers, okay, you've got Sparco, you've got Momo. There's only two of them. You just go, it's a bit like going in your local high street superstore and buying a suit.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a passable fit. But Stan 21 and the guys you deal with, everything else, it's not a passable fit. It's a perfect fit.
Yeah, and I say to prospective customers quite regularly when they ring me up and they want something cheap and cheerful, I'm quite honest with them that there are big retailers not too far from me in North Wales, without mentioning names, who are better at that sort of thing than ourselves, because they'll hold thousands of pounds worth of standard size suits, helmets, whatever, at a certain price point, which is not what we're about.
And if you can hang on for a few months, you can probably go early in the new year and pick last year's suit up in a sale, which makes it even cheaper.
Yeah. But as I say, it's not what we're about at LH Motorsport. It's the bespoke end of the market. And works okay for us,
Because that's the other thing. If you have an accident and you bang your head in a race car, even if you're in a saloon, if you bang your head, stroke your helmet on the roll cage, to best of my knowledge, that helmet is rendered
useless.
Yeah. If you bump a helmet, it's useless. You've got to go and buy another one.
Well, funny enough, actually, I've had a customer recently who, him and his driver, or the driver and the co-driver, had an accident, and they've got a matching pair of suits.
Yeah.
And the driver's suit's fine, but the co-driver wasn't in a great way and had his suit cut off him.
Yeah.
It's not ideal for anyone, really,
Yeah.
when you have an accident. But yeah, certainly helmets and suits and that sort of thing, a real big accident, it will be rendered useless, yeah.
And I think the thing is about rallying crash helmets, you mentioned Stilo are probably the best known, and there was Peltor. You've got the communication systems built into them now.
Yeah, Peltor really dropped. I was going to swear then, but no, Peltor really made a mistake, actually, probably about 7 or 8 years ago. Peltor were the market leaders for years in helmets with integrated intercom technology. Stilo came along and blew the market apart. And I actually use a Stilo helmet.
They're very stylish compared to everybody else.
Yeah, they are. They're really good. And you can't fault them at all. And Peltor just stopped making helmets.
Oh.
Which was bizarre, considering they were the market leader. I believe they are coming back into it. Currently, the other big brand that you'll see in the World Rally Championship is Simpson.
Yes.
So there's quite a few Simpson helmets appearing, which look very like a Stilo. The only way you can really tell when you're looking at the TV is the mouthpieces as an oval shape rather than the traditional sort of square, almost, not quite hexagonal. They almost look a bit like a Darth Vader mouthpiece on a Stilo helmet,
Because that's the other thing now, the helmets with the built-in. The microphone used to be on like a wire type of thing. Now it forms part of a chin guard, so it serves like a multifunction, doesn't it? It's your microphone, it's the boom and everything else, but it's there also. It will help protect you if you're using an open face helmet.
It does. Ironically, my Stilo is one of the ones with the floppy boom still.
Oh, right.
Purely because I get claustrophobic in a full face helmet or anything with a bar across. But personal choice. But the majority have got that solid boom now, which will add a bit of protection for sure.
Now, rallying. A few weeks ago, I was at Rednall Park in North Wales and then at Weston Park for the Rally Revival 2021. And the great thing about it was, unlike the previous year, it actually happened. So it was congratulations all round.
It did happen the previous year, actually. We did have one in 2020, but it ran at the start of the year. So we were, in 2020, I think we were probably the second to last or third to last event to run before lockdown happened, which was quite lucky. 2020 was fairly low-key. We didn't really have spectators in the way we did this year. The original aim was to have run late last year and then at the start of this year. And then we got pushed back to October.
So I did some promo for the beginning of this year for
you. Did?
Which rather landed on its backside.
Yeah, we all spent our time locked at home again, didn't we? But yeah.
What is the concept of Rally Revival? I know it's self-explanatory in its own way, as given its name, but What is that? You are a keen rally driver, co-driver and everything else. You have been for a long time. Where did the concept come from?
So the original concept was a one-off event to celebrate 25 years since Colin McRae and Derek Ringer won the World Rally Championship at Chester Racecourse.
Yes, I remember that.
Yeah, so that was the original concept. So our 2020 running was based at Chester Racecourse. We had the original partner brand of Rally GB in 1995, Network Q, came on board. They supplied a podium which pretty much matched what was at Chester Racecourse back then. We had Colin's dad, Jimmy McRae, along. We had Colin's co-driver from the time, Derek Ringer, along. We had Nicky Grist. We had Louise Aiken-Walker. We had Neil Wilson. And it just went on. And that was the original concept. And it was to bring that back to life 25 years on, and also to create an event that, if you like, recreated the old Sunday of the RAC rally. And for anyone that can remember, that was a tour of stately homes.
Yes.
So
they were big crowd pullers. I attended a few just as a spectator.
Yeah.
And you were at very stately homes. And the crowds, you to get there at about 5 o'clock in the morning to stand any chance of getting in at a decent time.
Absolutely, yeah.
The crowds were incredible.
Yeah, so that's what we did in 2020. So in 2020, we had Rednall, we had Weston Park, we had Alton Park in 2020, which had been on the schedule for this year, but we won't go into that just now. It's the world of circuit racing and rallying shall never meet almost. It's... But yeah, so it did recreate it, and without sounding boastful, because that's not my intention, it worked really well, and we got great feedback in 2020. Not a huge entry, about 50 cars.
Yeah.
But people loved the concept, loved the part of the world it was in, loved recreating those old memories, and that's where it grew from. That was the original intention, yeah.
But 2021, which is an event I commentated on, there were a lot of entries, weren't there?
So 2021, it blew our mind as organisers.
Because I got handed the entry list.
And it just went on.
Turn on the page, you think, hang on.
So, yeah, I think, in fairness, an awful lot of people entered this time last year when it should have run February 2021. And a lot of them entered because there'd been nothing on.
Yeah.
I'd like to think they entered because of the event, and I'm sure many of them did. But a little bit of it was because there'd been nothing on. So a lot of people put entries in. And at one point, we were up to about 120 cars.
Yeah.
Which, being completely honest, is too many.
Yeah.
To handle for that sort of event. What we ended up with on the day was an entry, so I think it was 97. And actually ended up casting my mind back now. I think it was 88 we ran in the end, or 89 on the day, which was a phenomenal number of cars.
Yeah.
But the nice thing about that number of cars, aside from the support of those entrants, was the mix.
Yes.
And it's something you don't get in modern rallying anyway, and you don't get in, pardon the strange phrase, but you don't get in modern historic rallying. Modern historic rallying is a sea of Mark 1 and Mark 2 escorts, mainly Mark 2 escorts.
With the odd 911 throw.
With the odd 911, yeah, exactly, Mark. Whereas an event like ours, there was everything. If you could think of it, it was there.
What I enjoyed seeing, I'll be perfectly honest, was some guy had recreated Tony Pond's Rover SD1 V8. And it's probably the most infeasible rally car. When you look at it, you think, the works actually rallied these. And it just looks so big.
Yes, you do.
But when you listen to that thing under full throttle in the lower gears, you just think that's one of those... It's like the TR7 V8.
Yeah.
The sound is just shattering out of it.
But funny enough, that Rover is actually, now our event's out the way, the co-driver messaged me the other week, so that's going into, I believe, computer vision colours for next year, which is what Pond used in early 85, I think, before the 6R4 came along, or late 84. So it's going into computer vision colours, funny enough,
But doesn't it look big? When you see it, it's so huge.
Low, but wide and long. Yeah.
And it's like I said, the TR7 V8s, when you listen to a V8 under full load, they're just awesome sounding things, aren't they?
Yeah, they were there as well. Yeah, TR7s.
Yes, TR7s. It's like you said, a cross-section. There were the usual Mark 1 and Mark 2 escorts. The one thing you now do see on some of the events I've attended is, this will be, shall we say, warm to your heart, is the North Wales manufacturer who, we can't call them Ford Escorts because they're not Ford Escorts.
Oh, the MST cars?
Yeah. And okay, they're a brand new car, but one of those in action. And okay, it's modern equipment, it's modern componentry because it's all new stuff. But you watch one of those in action, and they are still, as a Mark 1 or a Mark 2, what aren't a Ford Escort. The performance is shattering out of the things.
Oh, a modern spec one. Yeah, absolutely, I'm in a modern spec Mark 2 on the RAC, and I'd never sat in one before until we tested. And this one that we're in's got a 2.5 Vauxhall engine with a sequential gearbox.
Yeah.
And a historic spec one, which runs a BDG engine. It's a bit of an intractable old beast, low down, but it really comes on as you go up the revs.
Yeah.
Whereas a modern spec one pulls from nothing. And the torque in those modern ones, as you say, they just go.
Yep.
And it blows your mind.
One second it's on the start line, on the countdown, next minute it's vanished.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Now, it went very well. It was at Rednall Park on the Friday night near Wrexham, and Saturday it was at Weston Park and one or two other venues. But for next year, it is changing, is it not? It's now the Welsh edition.
Yeah.
Talk me through the Welsh edition.
The Welsh edition, yeah. So we had, after the event, we send out a questionnaire to all of our entrants to get their feedback.
Yeah.
Because they're entrants, they're also our customers at the end of the day. And we need to do what they want, but we also need to do what works for the council in Wrexham.
Yeah.
And we're very lucky that this year we've started a new relationship with Wrexham Council where they wanted something different to add to their portfolio, if you like.
Yeah.
So they handed us POW, which is an arts and crafts centre based in the centre of town as our hub, and then the centre of town for the ceremonial start. And it worked brilliantly for them. They were made up with what they saw. We didn't heavily advertise it with COVID restrictions currently in Wales, which is still in place, but it worked brilliantly. And the feedback that we got from people was they loved that. They loved the fact that it was all in one town. We also on the Friday night, we ran a section of road called World's End, which is a very famous old road rally and RAC rally road from the 1950s and 60s. We ran World's End in the dark, and the
Don't mind me asking, what's world ending about it?
Well, it's just the name of it, actually. So it's
because there was a lot of mutterings within the crowd while I was commentating World's End. I thought, what is this?
Yeah, it's infamous. So it's got a water splash halfway up it, which on night rallies people tend to find a bit of a struggle. So it has two sections. So the first section of it's called Panorama, which looks right down over Llangollen. It's on the hillside above Llangollen. And you come off Panorama and then you go up and over World's End. And when you go over World's End, it's at the top of World's End. You can see right across the Wirral and Liverpool.
Oh, right.
And it's actually where, random fact for you, during World War II, they used to light bonfires to try and put the bombers off their scent when they were looking for the docks in Liverpool. They just dropped their bombs on the mountainside of where World's End is. Competitors really love the roads up there. It's, for anyone that doesn't know it, it's probably fairly similar to a lot of the Irish moorland stuff you'd get.
Oh, yeah.
It's very similar to Mull, actually.
Yeah.
That kind of road network. They love that. They loved Heartseath, which is another Welsh venue. There's a lot of events now using Weston Park.
Yeah.
Which was our main, if you like, main English venue this year. And we thought we need to mix this up a little bit, and in deference to what the competitors came back with, what Wrexham have come back with, and an even bigger driver behind it all is where a lot of our marshals are based. An awful lot of our marshals are either from North Wales or from the borders of North Wales, so within 30 minutes of North Wales.
Yeah.
And we thought, we've got a lot of rallying history in Wales, let's make it a Welsh event. So that's the idea.
It is a bit of a religion. It's a bit like Ireland as well. Like Ireland and Wales, rallying is it's not a sport, it's a religion. Isn't it? If you're not into it, you're odd.
Yeah, almost. Yeah, I'd love to say it was like it was. It's not quite the same as 20 years ago, 25 years ago. But in this part of North Wales, or North East Wales, we've had Rally GB for a long time. And there's still a lot of good feeling around that. And there's still talk that the event is going to come back in the next couple of years to North Wales.
I mean, I hope so, because somebody said it's an insult. I said it's not so much an insult. I said it's a statement of fact. I said, what used to be the RAC rally, I said, I now refer to as the rally of a little bit of South Wales. I said, it seems to have shrunk to a degree. It's not overly, to use a modern parlance, inclusive. It seems to be very concentrated on one little bit.
Yeah, my understanding, and I write a column for a magazine, and I actually put it in the column this month. My understanding, if they can get the funding, is it's going to be Northern Ireland next year, 2022.
Right.
It's going to be North East Wales again, 2023, based in Deeside, and then Scotland in 2024. So they're going to move it around every year. And the reason they can do it in those devolved nations is because those devolved nations control their own tourism budgets, whereas in England it's all controlled through Westminster.
Yeah.
So they can't do it. So Scotland, Northern Ireland and Wales can.
Yeah.
And I believe splitting it up like that's making it more palatable for each of those regions. So that's the word on the street, so to speak,
And the one thing I notice is the popularity of historic rallying is increasing popularity. It's something people were getting fed up of me saying, but you can relate to the cars. You cannot really relate to a modern WRC car anymore. It looks vaguely like what you'll see in the showroom from a distance if you're squinting in a bad light. But you look at a Mark II Escort or a Mark I Escort or a Lotus Cortina or a Vauxhall Fiorenza or, dare I say, the 911s. And not like the cars that you could buy new back in the day, but they still look like the ordinary version of the car you might see driving down the road. It's the popularity, and I think also historic cars are still spectacular.
Yeah, absolutely. A historic car driven not brilliantly still looks good.
Yeah.
A Mark II Escort, using that as the most common example, a Mark II Escort flatters you as a driver.
Yeah.
You can be very average, but you can still look like Harry Vatanen.
Yeah.
You can put a Mark II Escort in some incredible angles and still pull it back out the tree. So it's an interesting one, actually, the modern versus historic rallying angle and what works for people and what doesn't. I think one of the big problems with modern WRC events is the segregation of the spectators and the cars.
Yeah.
And I don't mean on the stages, because that actually applies to a historic event just as much as a modern event, but more so in the service parks. You've got these huge buildings now at a WRC event, the Hyundai building being a great example, where the shut away, there's this big roadway between the fans and the garages, so they're in the distance. The drivers, when you can actually get to the drivers, we used to run a charity rally for them, and we'd have all the drivers along before Rally GB, and they were brilliant when you could get them along, but trying to get to those drivers, even in the last 8 years, has become very difficult, even for us running a charity rally for them. In the past, we've had Seb Ogier and all those sort of people. It would be difficult to do it now.
Yeah.
Really difficult to do it. I think it's a mix of the cars, the people being more accessible, the noises, the smells. It's all of those things, all of those tangible things.
Yeah.
Make historic rallying much more interesting for the person on the street. Yeah.
And the one thing I notice amongst the spectators now is the youngsters that are coming along who are quite obviously, enthused and excited about being stood. On some of them, they're stood about 10 feet away on the start line. You don't just see the car, you hear the car, you feel the car, you smell the car. When it sets off from a start line, you're involved with the car, because when they set off, all of a sudden there's all this mechanical activity melded into one, and they see the black lines left on the tarmac and all the rest of it. It's a very sensory thing. It's a proper rally car setting up.
But it's interesting, actually. I mean, I mentioned the start we had in Wrexham and why we kept it a little bit low-key with the COVID restrictions.
Yeah.
And when you looked at the various Facebook groups that exist for Wrexham, within hours of that happening, the amount of families that were crying out that they didn't know about it and they'd have liked to have brought their 2 kids and their parents along, the grandparents who'd have all loved it. It has become a real family occasion.
Yeah.
And kids, I'm guessing it's the sounds, it's the noise, it's the smells, the colours, and the fact that everything looks different. They don't just look identikit cars with a different livery. They all look very different.
Yeah. Even the Mark I and the Mark II Escort do to a degree look different. A 911 looks radically different.
Yeah.
A Vauxhall Chevette looks different again. And Vauxhall Novas and Nissan Micras, people might laugh at a Nissan Micra, but it made a very good little rally car, especially for the junior drivers.
Well, what I found interesting, actually, I mean, my eldest son's nearly 14 and he's into online gaming.
Yeah.
And he likes all the modern supercar stuff, road cars. But when he goes to rally now, he looks at various cars, be it a Stratos or an Escort or Cosworth or Toyota Celicas, and he goes, "Oh, I've got one of those on that game I play. Oh, I've got one of those on that game I play." And I hadn't realised they existed on that, because gaming's a different world to me completely. But I think that's actually where a lot of youngsters are now relating to what they're seeing on a stage, because they play it on a game. And it's, if we could somehow harness that link a little bit stronger, there's a whole world of young people we can get interested in historic rallying games.
And the one car, when you do see, because they do rally, they're still out there doing the business, the one that gets everybody going, Mini Cooper.
Yeah, one dear to my heart, yeah.
Yeah, you own one. The last time we met up, I actually drove your Mini Cooper. You've taken it in bits now to restore it.
It's, yes.
It's
just...
But the Mini Cooper, if anybody who has never driven a proper Mini, I don't mean a rally spec one, if you can go and drive a proper original Mini, the current ones, the proper ones, there is something magical about a Mini. And a Cooper with a straight cut gearbox and everything else, the noise, they are still quick little cars.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they're a heck of a thing. We did, so actually co-driving a proper old-shaped Mini Cooper. We did Killarney Historic Rally in Ireland 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And if you can go on YouTube and put Killarney 2019 Minis, you'll see us going at Moll's Gap.
Oh, yeah.
And when you actually see it from the outside, you think, crikey, was I sitting in that? Because they're just, they are phenomenal little cars. I absolutely love Minis to bits.
Yeah.
And a race one as well. They are a great thing. And again, kids absolutely love Minis.
I think they still appeal to all ages to proper Minis, don't they?
I don't really know why that is, but they do. So, yeah.
So, what Rally Revival 2022, the Welsh edition, what are the dates?
Now you put me on the spot. It's the 11th and 12th of November 2022, based in Wrexham again.
Yeah.
Excuse me, format. We're just working on that at the moment, and we're trying to create a format that works for everybody, but advances our event to the next level. I think promotionally and what we do, ceremonial starts and all that sort of thing, I think the event's spot on now. I think we've got that, which is possibly in some ways the harder bit to do, but we need to work on how we present it to the entrants and how we do that in a way that the entrants probably become competitors, and whether we add in timing. So that's the thing we're working on. We're talking to a few people, talking to venues over what works for them, and hopefully we'll release that around February time.
And is there anything else on the horizon that you can tell me about?
Events-wise that we're running, or things that I'm doing?
Things that you're doing.
Things that I'm
pending
doing.
Events.
Things that I'm doing. So I'm competing on the Roger Albert Clark Rally in 2 and a bit weeks' time in a Mark II Escort. So that's where my focus is on at the moment. 5 days worth of pace notes to go through and all the service schedules and that sort of thing. So that's the immediate one. Rally Revival and what we do there. So Rally Revival's actually a brand. It's a registered trademark. It's a motor club.
All right.
So the intention with that as a brand, if you like, next year is we do a lot more for our members. We've got over 250 members.
Right.
Excuse me. So we're looking at putting on some regularity rallies.
Yeah.
And possibly something else in the middle of the year, which we're just trying to work out how that looks. And then on the retail side of things, our next focus is the Autosport show in January.
Right.
Where we'll have a stand showing off our wares for the 2022 season and trying to attract people to part with their money.
Right. If people want to get in touch with you, it's how do they get in touch with you and to find out what's going on?
So if it's Rally Revival, there's a page on Facebook, which is Rally Revival 2022 in association with Cooper Tyres. There's also the website, so rallyrevival.co.uk. And then if it's retail, it's LH Motorsport, which is another Facebook page, and on Instagram. And the website for that is lhmotorsport.co.uk.
Bryn Pearce, as always, it's been a pleasure chatting to you. Thanks very much for once again joining me on the Backseat Driver Radio Show.
Brilliant. Thank you ever so much, Matt.
Rarely beaten on price, never beaten on service. Whether it's cars, bikes or commercials, Hoddy Tyres are the best in the business. And when it comes to tyre expertise and advice to supplying the correct tyres for your vehicle's specific requirements, nobody comes close to David Lakin and the Hoddy Tyres team. So give them a call on 01200 613 192 or visit the website at hoddytyres.co.uk.